Is Thunderbird the true best wing roller coaster in the world? Or is it just the best wing roller coaster I've ever ridden? Find out in this review as we go along the aspects of one of the best, if not the best wing roller coaster out there, Thunderbird, and as well one of the newer wing roller coasters out there. It is the first of its kind launch wing roller coaster, which brings up all the uniqueness and awesomeness about this roller coaster, and is located at Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. But then again, what did I think of it? Did I enjoy it? Is it one of the best rides I've ever ridden? Here, find out in this review. Disclaimer that since Thunderbird doesn't have an actual drop, I have not put that category in here since there really is no proof of a drop. But I will be going through almost every other category. And since this ride is a launch roller coaster and has inversions, the two categories added on are the inversions category and the launch category. So that's just a little bit of an extra throw on since there's no drop, and since it makes a lot more sense to not put a drop category in here because there is really no drop. It is a launch roller coaster. So first up is the height of Thunderbird, and at the highest point of this ride, since there is no drop and or hill, there is really no exact drop in the height of the lift hill, etc. like I'd usually be saying. This is at the highest point of the roller coaster, and the highest point of this roller coaster is one of the biggest inversions in the world, and that is at 160 feet, which is the first inversion right as you come off of the launch. And it is a really, really cool inversion, and not only that, that is the highest point of the ride. So, I will be giving Thunderbird, because it's still 160 feet technically about, I will be giving it a 6. And notice how it's in orange, because I went over this. If you watch my Voyage review, is my new way of ranking the certain categories out of 10. And if it's a 6, then that would mean it's just right above average, or just at average, because 5 is also an orange. So I put 6 out of 10 because it really is just above average, the height, because it is a tall roller coaster, but it also isn't a short roller coaster, as well as it also isn't of the tallest roller coasters, but it is still a tall roller coaster. So that is why I will be giving Thunderbird at the highest point a 6 out of 10. Next up is the speed. And Thunderbird goes approximately about 67, 68 miles per hour, so about 70 miles per hour. So I'm not going to give it a 6 because that would mean that it goes more estimately towards 60 miles per hour. I will be giving it a 7, which means now it is in green, so it's just fine. And that is because it goes more closely to 70 miles per hour. And you do feel that speed too, so it makes it all the more where you actually feel that speed. Like it isn't one of those rides where it feels like it's going only 50, 60 miles per hour. You feel that 67-ish mile per hour speed, and that just makes the speed all the more better for a roller coaster such as Thunderbird. Next up is duration, and I felt when I was on Thunderbird that it went almost about minute 10, a minute 15, probably a minute 20 more closely. I'd say about minute 16, maybe a minute 15, I don't know. I didn't exactly measure the time, but I know it was in that range, and the Holiday World's website actually values it at a minute and 18 seconds. So, it is a fairly long roller coaster, so it definitely packs a punch because of what it is in that time. However, it also isn't of the longest roller coasters, although it is still a fairly long roller coaster. But there are definitely longer roller coasters out there. But whatever. It's an intense ride, it's a fun ride, it's an awesome wing roller coaster, and a minute 18, a minute 20, whatever, that's fine for what it packs in. However, I'm still going to go off of naturability and give it a 5 out of 10 because it's just average of a roller coaster length. But there are longer roller coasters out there, although it is still a fairly long roller coaster for what it packs in that duration. So it is still fine, no worries. Now this is one of the categories I threw in, since this ride is a launch wing roller coaster. Again, it is the first of its kind launch wing roller coaster. So, with what it packs in that launch, the launch is a very intense launch. I'm not saying what it gives you a speed of. It's going off of intensity of the launch. The launch is a great launch. It isn't of the best launches out there. Like, it isn't a King Ka, Top Road Dragster. It's not like one of those launches, obviously. Or even a Maverick launch at Cedar Point. However, this ride's launch is still a great launch. And I absolutely love this launch. It was intense. You felt the speed just accelerating on the launch. And it was a very good launch. And I felt the launch on this roller coaster was a good launch. So I'm going to be giving it a 9 out of 10. It is one of the stronger parts of Thunderbird. And that's a good thing because since it is the first of its kind launch wing roller coaster, it has to have a good launch to put a great first impression. And that it did, because if you ask me, on my personal experience, it had an awesome launch. And I absolutely love Thunderbird's launch. It is another strong point of this roller coaster. It's good. It's awesome. Next up are the inversions category, and the inversions category is the type of inversions, and if you ask me, the inversions on this roller coaster are really good. They are all unique in some sort of way as Thunderbird flies through them. Now you have a 0G roll, you have the inversion that you fly into from the launch, which is probably the best part. You have a regular 100-foot or so loop, vertical loop I should say, and you also have a few other twists and turns here and there. So the inversions are really good, however they are at the same time natural, and you would find them generally on any inverting roller coaster. So it really isn't all that special, however for the way that Thunderbird flies through them, it brings it all the more up. So I will be giving it a 9 again, because the inversions on this ride, the way Thunderbird flies through them, is awesome. Although some of them are natural inversions, you also have the inversion that you fly into off the launch, and it just feels awesome. The sensation when you're flying through it on Thunderbird. It is really cool if you ask me, and that's why I will be giving the inversions category a 9 out of 10. So it's great. And as well, notice how the 9 out of 10 and the 10 out of 10 are in blue, because that is my favorite color, so that's why I gave the best category rankings a 9 and a 10 to be blue. So that is why I will be giving the inversions category a 9 out of 10. A strong point of Thunderbird. I love it. What's this? Another strong category of Thunderbird? The intensity. The launch is intense. You fly through the inversions. It's so intense. I absolutely love this roller coaster when it comes into intensity. If you ask me, it is the most intense wing rider that I've ever been on over X-Flight, Gatekeeper, etc., etc. It is an awesome roller coaster when it comes to intensity. If you ask me, it's probably even more intense than the Voyage, which is the other big boy at the park. So if you ask me, that is one of the most intense roller coasters I've ever been on, because the launch, the way you fly through the inversions, the twists and turns, and it keeps up the speed as well. So when it keeps up the speed, it makes it all the more intense until you slam into the brakes. So it really is a great intensity. So what will I be giving for intensity? Another 9. Strong point, a great roller coaster when it comes to intensity. If you like intense roller coasters, you will like Thunderbird. And this is where one of the categories goes downhill, and this is the airtime. Now, I'm not saying the airtime is completely off guard. However, the airtime on this roller coaster is not what it's meant to be for. The roller coaster has some airtime here and there, especially through the inversion, so that's really cool. And you do feel some airtime moments, however, not strong airtime moments. But you do feel a couple slight airtime moments. So you still feel some airtime, however, it isn't like a Voyage airtime, or even any wooden roller coaster in general, like El Toro airtime. You don't feel it like, yeah, you know what I mean by that. You know the gist. It's not awesome airtime. It isn't like you fly out of your seat, ejector or floater airtime. It is just some little tiny spots of airtime and spectacles of airtime, but you don't feel it like it's throwing you out of your seat. So for this, I will be giving it 3 out of 10. Now, this is actually the first review for this coaster season that I am giving something this low of a ranking for a category. So here, let me explain. A 3 out of 10. If it's a 3 or a 4, I will be giving it a yellow. So you could tell, I don't know if this is exactly yellow. I probably chose a wrong color, but this seems like it's pretty accurately a yellow. So that's the color I'll be using when it comes to a 3 or a 4. But if it's a 1 or a 2, it will be red. So that means it failed in that category. If it's 3 or a 4, it will be yellow. So that means it's just, alright. So the airtime on this roller coaster is alright. And then if you see a 4 out of 5, it will be, I believe, not a 4 out of 5, a 5 or a 6, it will be orange. So you saw that already with one of the first categories. It was a 6, I believe. So orange means that it's just average or slightly above average. And 7 or 8 means it's just fine, has a great strong category for that. And a 9 out of 10 means it's excellent in that category. And 10, forget about it. But they are both blue, 9 and 10, so whatever. But I felt, maybe I'll make 10 a dark blue. Besides, actually, I haven't given the Voyage or Thunderbird a perfect 10 out of 10, except in airtime, which I used a blue. So I may be using a dark blue for 10 now, starting to think about it, just to make it a little bit more unique from 9. But just tell me what you think about that in the comments below. Not so important, forget about it. But for the airtime, I'll be giving it a 3 out of 10, because it isn't strong at all in this category, but you do feel some specks of it. Now, overall, out of 10, what do I think about Thunderbird? And if you ask me, this is the best wing rider that they have out there at the moment. It is an awesome, awesome roller coaster. One of the best rides in Holiday World. If you ask me, right behind the Voyage. If you ask me, I like the Voyage better. However, this is still an awesome wing roller coaster, and I highly recommend it if you're in the area. I highly recommend the Voyage. But this is right up there with it. It's an awesome roller coaster. Now, I don't know if it would make my list of best roller coaster I've ever ridden, although it's definitely close, if not in it. So this ride is awesome, but what will the actual score be? A 9 out of 10. It is an awesome, awesome roller coaster. I highly recommend it. The launch is great. The intensity is great. The duration is decent. The airtime is not so strong. So if you only like airtime on a roller coaster, I like airtime and intensity, but if you only like airtime on a roller coaster and you like that sensation, this may not be the ride for you. But if you like intensity and every other aspect of a roller coaster, this is the ride for you. Like I said, it is the best wing ride that I've ever been on, and it is better than Gatekeeper. Yet, like, people will say that Gatekeeper would be the best wing rider. If you ask me, this dominates it. Gatekeeper is one of those just natural record-breaking roller coasters at Cedar Point, and it's just an ordinary wing rider. This is a different wing rider. This launches you. This is intense. A lot different than other wing riders, if you ask me. So it's unique, and it's an awesome, awesome roller coaster. However, I hope you enjoyed this review. What do you think of Thunderbird Hollywood? Have you ridden it yet? And if not, I highly recommend it, as I've said multiple times. And I will catch you next time on Coaster Mania's channel for more reviews on roller coasters that I've ridden this year.